Wooly is a character in Amanda the Adventurer who presents himself as Amanda's innocent sidekick. Though he may seem harmless, he is hiding a dark, sinister secret. One that will completely change the way that you look at the Amanda show. So once again I ask, who is Wooly? Does my theory of him being a Hamlin employee still hold up? Yeah. Spoiler alert, it definitely does. Now look, I still believe that Wooly is Danny McQuiggan, the containment specialist. But I now have reason to believe that there's far more to this cursed sheep than meets the eye. Get ready, because in this video, we're gonna uncover the twisted truth behind Wooly. Or should I say, Balam. All right, before we dive into our favorite sheep, I wanna quickly address my upload schedule or lack of one. Okay, wait, before you unsubscribe, just let me explain. I've been battling a really nasty cough the past couple months, and on top of that, I'm a full-time college student, and this semester has been really wild.
We do not care.
But I finished playing through Amanda the Adventurer 2 myself and unlocked all the secret tapes and hidden endings. And I must say, my theories have aged very, very well, like surprisingly well. Especially my Who is Wooly video. For anyone who hasn't seen that video, I basically make the claim that Wooly is actually a secret Hamlin employee trying to keep Amanda in check. That video has aged like the finest of wines. In fact, I'm pretty sure Game Theory referenced it in their latest upload on Amanda the Adventurer.
But while we have been theorizing in that direction, others went a different way, feeling that it's more likely that Wooly was actually a Hamlin employee working on the inside to try and keep Amanda on track and stop her from freeing herself and the other kid.
Others went a different
Here I come. Oh, here I come.
It's a great video, and obviously I don't know if the others is referencing me specifically, but to the best of my knowledge, I was the first to cover the Wooly is working for Hamlin theory, so I'm gonna go ahead and take credit for that one, Chief.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
But back to the topic at hand, let's talk about Wooly. He has some very interesting moments in Amanda the Adventurer 2 that we need to talk about. First, one of the things I immediately noticed in the sequel was that the Hamlin logo only appears in episodes that Wooly appears in.
Sick. Coincidence? I think not.
Come on, you can't tell me this is a coincidence. Don't even try. It's like the Amanda devs are screaming the answer at us, and it's not just that. There's stronger, even more substantial evidence for the Hamlin employee theory now. Tape 7, we can fix it. This is one of the craziest tapes in the entire game. The VHS is damaged, so the entire episode is glitched out, and there's this constant imagery of Wooly surrounding and tormenting Amanda. And not only that, but if you slow the clip down, guess whose logo appears in the corner? Hamlin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
However, I read some of the comments from the last video, and there was one problem with this theory that was brought up, which is the inconsistency of Wooly's actions.
Objection!
Yeah, that was actually pretty convincing, but why in the demos would he say to burn the tapes if he's working for Hamlin?
You, take the tape out now and destroy them. Burn them, whatever, just get rid of these other tapes.
Okay, fair enough. It doesn't make sense for Wooly to tell us to burn the tapes, because that would be counterproductive to Hamlin's goals, right? Well, yes, but I think that there is actually a really simple explanation for this. I think we're viewing Wooly way too one-dimensionally. Despite his evil intentions as a pawn of Hamlin, Wooly is still a person, and every person has their breaking point. To me, this sounds like Wooly is cracking under the moral pressure of his involvement in the show and attempting to save the viewer since he knows what Hamlin and Amanda are capable of. So Wooly's reason for telling us to break the tapes is really simple. His priorities have changed the longer he spent in them. It's possible that Danny entered the tapes willingly, thinking he could keep the show under control, but ended up being corrupted by the show's demonic forces. More on that later. And that leads us to Amanda the Adventurer 2. There's a weird moment in the tape, Let's Practice Patience, where Wooly looks up at the sky and says this.
I can't handle this anymore.
Oh, nigga!
When I played this game for the first time, this moment immediately stood out to me. Why would Wooly randomly look up into the sky and say this in the middle of an episode? Well, I think y'all know precisely why. He's got to be talking directly to Hamlin here. Doesn't he sound like a disgruntled employee who's fed up with the conditions of his work? Come to think of it, you know what this moment reminds me of? It has a striking parallel to a scene from The Truman Show. For anyone who doesn't know, The Truman Show is a Jim Carrey movie about an insurance salesman named Truman, who discovers his whole life is a hidden reality TV show. There's a specific scene where he confronts his wife about her involvement and threatens to hurt her, and she says this.
There's so many choices!
No! Do something!
What'd you say? Who are you talking to?
Nothing, I didn't say anything.
At this moment, she's calling out to the TV producers for help. In this scenario, the TV producers would have to be Hamlin. And I can't help but see the similarities between this scene and this moment with Wooly.
I can't handle this anymore.
How could anyone expect me to carry on under these conditions? It's unprofessional!
So that's all the new evidence I have for the Wooly is working for Hamlin theory, which is nice and definitely strengthens my claims from the previous video, but it really doesn't tell us anything new. Thing is, I was already confident in my suspicions of Wooly being a Hamlin spy, and the sequel only confirmed my suspicions. But the dark truth I'm referring to in the title isn't that Wooly is a Hamlin employee. I already knew that months ago. No. The real truth behind Wooly is far more sinister, and the real theory that motivated the making of this video. So, I have a question. What exactly happened to Wooly between Amanda the Adventurer 1 and 2? I mean, Wooly died, remember?
Fatality.
He completely vanished from the following episodes of the show until midway through Amanda the Adventurer 2, where he suddenly reappears, much to Amanda's dismay. I mean, are we even confident that this is the same Wooly from the first game? I mean, I'd have to assume so since he has the same voice and echoes the same personality. So let's assume that this is the same Wooly. But what was the true reason for his disappearance? Well, the answer to that question lies in the true ending for the game, where we listen to Aunt Kate's voice recording and find out that the masked figure is Joanne, a friend of Kate's that was mentioned in this note in the first game. But we don't get to talk with her for too long because shortly after, this happens.
Do whatever I can to...
Riley, take these and get out of here.
Oh, say less!
God damn! In this terrifying ending, we get a glimpse at an entirely new demonic entity that seems to resemble Wooly. When I played this for the first time, it caught me completely off guard. I had no idea there was another entity roaming around, and I was especially shocked by its ruthlessness as it rips Joanne to shreds off screen. I have to say though, its resemblance to Wooly is the most intriguing part of all of it. This reveal not only tells us a terrifying truth about Wooly himself, but Amanda's fate in the show. So here's my theory. As we discussed in a previous video, Hamlin strategically placed Wooly and Amanda the Adventurer to keep Amanda in check. However, as the show progresses, it becomes clear that Wooly cannot effectively contain Amanda and her dark side. This is particularly evident in the second game, where Amanda appears to have greater control over the entity, even giving it direct instructions that it follows.
Are you even listening to my story?
Wooly, I'm trying, bro.
Okay, moving on.
Wait!
Whoa!
They've helped me before. Give them a chance to try, please.
The more control Rebecca has over Amanda the Adventurer, the more Wooly becomes obsolete. As a result, Hamlin had to devise a new strategy to level the playing field and maintain control over Amanda. Initially, I thought that this is where the opossum came into play. I speculated that it was another pawn of Hamlin designed to keep the show on track.
Wrong.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that theory has not aged the best. Looking at all the evidence we have in the second game now, I honestly think that the possum is trying to keep the show off track more than anything. Can't predict everything, I guess. The opossum is another beast entirely that we may have to tackle in a separate video. But back to Wooly, how exactly is this demon connected to Wooly? It seems reasonable to assume that the demon is connected to Wooly in a similar way that Amanda's demon is connected to her, right? They were likely bonded through the same ritual. We know this because there's a secret tape from the first game where Hamlin tricks Rebecca into saying weird phrases like bye yo,
Bye,
pie man,
Pie man,
and ba lamb.
Bala.
which align with 3 demon kings, Paimon, Baal, and Baalam. We can assume that this was part of the process that summoned the demonic entity present in both games, which means that Wooly or Danny must have done something similar. In fact, there's a magazine clipping from the first game that details the theft of a Celtic relic called the Crown of Stag. Now, this could just be a random Easter egg, but come on, it's an indie horror game, you know it's not. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the Crown of Stag is connected to the exact same demons that Rebecca names in the Hamlin recording booth. And now, tell me this. Which shadowy corporation is most likely to have stolen this relic for their own demonic purposes?
I don't know, Hamlin?
Let's see Hamlin! The crown represents power, authority, and dominion in Celtic lore. It's traditionally associated with rituals of control, an artifact used to summon and bind supernatural forces. This means that the theft of this relic was likely orchestrated by Hamlin so they could use it to summon the 3 demon kings in order to sacrifice the souls of kids for some kind of higher power.
No, he orchestrated it.
Speaking of which, before we continue, let's actually talk about Hamlin. As much as I bring up Wooly being a spy for Hamlin and all that, we've never actually dove into Hamlin themselves. In my initial theory, I didn't really have much to say about Hamlin, as they're just a shadowy corporation with mysterious motivations. But Amanda the Adventurer 2 actually gave us a ton of new information about Hamlin that's kind of being slept on. There's a secret tape in the game where Kate and some other people are having some kind of intervention, and they talk about Hamlin and reveal that Hamlin's origins trace back to the Middle Ages.
What?
So we're saying that this production company has been around since the Middle Ages? Is that what we're saying?
Either that, or they were...
Okay, but what does that even mean? This is a very confusing revelation, but it does tell us something insane about Hamlin. If they've been around that long, then Hamlin isn't simply a TV network. They're a death cult posing as one. The cult likely originated from the town of Hamlin and the story of the Pied Piper, and have been in the shadows since, and now are using the guise of the network for their sinister plot to avoid suspicion. One of the reasons I believe Hamlin is a cult is because of their connection to this theft of the Crown of Stag. So it's possible that the cult of Hamlin used this stolen relic to conduct their dark experiments, not just on Amanda, but on Wooly as well. Another piece of evidence for this theory comes from a pretty unexpected place, but it's actually the Amanda the Adventurer Instagram. There's an Instagram reel where Wooly, portrayed as a puppet, reads reviews for the game. It's a funny little segment, but there's a moment in the middle that is off.
Darkling says, "What did they do to my boy Wooly?" Well, Darkling...
Unspeakable thing.
Okay, that's enough reviews for today. Thanks for playing, everyone, and for reviewing.
Look, who knows? This advertisement might not even be canon, and maybe it was just a one-off joke, but honestly, given everything we know about Wooly and Hamlin up to this point, I don't think it is. I believe when he says they, he's referring to Hamlin, and when he says
Unspeakable thing,
he's likely referring to the summoning ritual that brought the demon into the picture, turning him into Hamlin's demonic enforcer. So if we revisit the tape Let's Fix It, this episode takes on an entirely new meaning. The imagery of Wooly surrounding Amanda not only symbolizes his sinister intentions, but also represents Wooly and Hamlin's total dominion over Rebecca at this stage of the game. Now that a demon has possessed Wooly, Rebecca is unable to stop him. She finds herself trapped in the perpetual hell of the show. And one more thing, I know the video's getting long, so I'll keep it short, but while I was editing, I made one more discovery that we have to talk about. Whenever anything demonic is happening, such as the entity being nearby, Wooly's eyes always go black.
Moving on.
Wait!
Whoa! Yeah, it's rewind time.
Whoa! If you need any more evidence that Wooly is bonded to these demons somehow, then there it is. So Wooly was possessed by a demon, we can say that much. But which one? Well, there are thousands of demons in Christian demonology, so there's really no way of knowing.
Wrong.
No, we know exactly which demon possessed Wooly. In fact, he's already been identified in one of the tapes we discussed earlier. Alright, things are about to get a little crazy, so stay with me. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. Wooly is a lamb. I mean, technically a sheep, but a lamb is just another way of saying young sheep.
Yeah, nigga.
I'm still fucking with you.
And every time you answer lamb, the game will default to referencing Wooly.
That sounds delicious.
I mean, look at it like this. If you separate the two syllables of the name ba lamb, we get ba and lamb. We already know that Wooly is a lamb, and ba is just the sound that a sheep makes, which we've heard Wooly make before.
And I'm Wooly. Bah.
Wooly just made an animal sound. He said ba because he is a sheep.
What a cute fib.
Now that we're viewing Wooly as a lamb, another biblical idea comes to mind: the sacrificial lamb. In ancient folklore, the sacrificial lamb represents one's innocence being sacrificed and offered to a higher power to be vessels for supernatural forces like demonic entities. But how do we know for sure it's ba lamb? I mean, the name thing could just be a coincidence, so we need more solid evidence. Well, don't worry, there's plenty of it. One of the most potent pieces of evidence behind this theory is a tape we've already discussed: Let's Fix It. The Let's Fix It tape is filled with many weird and creepy moments, but one in particular stood out the first time I played the game. About halfway through the tape, we see this awful imagery of Amanda and Wooly fused together. There's also this recurring image of them having 3 heads. 3 heads. 3 heads. Well, take a wild guess which demon is depicted as having 3 heads. That's right, ba lamb. Ba lamb is usually depicted as having first the head of a bull, the second a man, and the third a ram. 3 heads. A demon with a lamb's name. I don't know, man, these coincidences are adding up. Think about it this way. This is purely speculative, but the 3 heads of ba lamb perfectly align with the fractured identity of Wooly. His inner human self as Danny, his animal appearance as a lamb, and the demonic force behind it all, ba lamb. And considering that this entire tape revolves around the idea that Wooly is tormenting Amanda, I don't think it's crazy to say that this could also represent ba lamb doing the same. And if you're not quite sold on the theory yet, here's one last nugget of evidence to chew on. I noticed an interesting detail in the tape when you're feeling bad.
What's your favorite kind of story?
What's my favorite kind of story? I don't know. Or...
Those kind of stories are too scary for me.
Oh, come on.
Oh! No! Wow. I wish I hadn't asked.
What the fuck?
Now, it happens very quickly, but we can hear Wooly's voice as he shouts the word no from what sounds like a very echoey room. No! It's challenging to pinpoint the exact source of this noise, but at first I was thinking it possibly could originate from whatever surgery brought him into Amanda the Adventurer, but I ruled that out because if he's an employee of Hamlin, then he must have gone in willingly, right? This could originate from the ritual or some kind of contact with ba lamb, which is why Wooly is so terrified. I don't know though, that's just me trying to make sense of these very cryptic moments where Wooly seemingly breaks character, but let me know what you guys think. But that's pretty much the theory. At the beginning of this video, I posed the question, what happened to Wooly between Amanda the Adventurer 1 and Amanda the Adventurer 2? I believe that Wooly, also known as Danny, wasn't just off screen. During his disappearance, I believe Hamlin used the crown of Stag to summon ba lamb and merge him with Wooly to make him the perfect enforcer. This explains the sudden appearance of the Wooly demon, which conveniently occurs right after Joanne mentions Hamlin.
But I do know that Hamlin needs to be brought down. I won't be their pawn anymore. I will do whatever I can to...
This new revelation actually aligns perfectly with the past theory that Wooly is an employee of Hamlin, as he now serves as a vessel for a demon that follows Hamlin's orders. This would also explain why we didn't see this demon at all in the first game, as we can pinpoint this happening in his disappearance between Amanda the Adventurer 1 and 2. You know, one of the saddest things about this development is that Amanda, or Rebecca, is the real victim here. Despite her abrasive nature, Wooly, who initially seems innocent, is actually the true villain of Amanda the Adventurer. The sidekick she once trusted has now become her greatest obstacle to achieving freedom. Man, that's messed up. Now, Wooly's conflicting actions, like warning us to burn the tape despite working for Hamlin and shouting to the sky, make him a far more layered character than just a simple villain. He's a pawn rebelling against his master, a puppet struggling against the strings. This duality makes Wooly an even more terrifying and deep antagonist. At the end of the day, Wooly isn't just a pawn or Amanda's sidekick. He's a tragic, corrupted figure, a victim of Hamlin's schemes, and now a puppet for demonic forces. The real question isn't just who is Wooly, it's how much of him is even left. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do for Rebecca or her father Sam other than, of course, hitting the like button and subscribing to Marzilla Productions.
Do me a favor, shut the fuck up.
Speaking of that, once again, thank you guys so much to everyone who's been subscribing lately. I've been absolutely blown away by the support on these videos so far. And I always want to bring you guys top quality videos, which is hard since I'm a full-time college student, but y'all already know your boy always rises to the occasion. And don't worry, I saw that the last video got 1,000 likes, so you guys are going to get that bonus theory, I promise. Not only are we going to uncover the exact identity of the butcher, but we're going to tackle the opossum as well. And I know that there are already some theories floating around for both, but I assure you that I have some new evidence and points to present for both, so stay tuned for that. Wait, 1,000. 1,000. Why does that number sound familiar? Either way, subscribe to join the squad. If I reach 1,000 subs by the end of 2024, then I'll eat a ghost pepper for y'all on camera. 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, and I will eat a ghost pepper for y'all on camera. No cap. Holy fuck.